Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for October 9th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I am here to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. It was day 68 in the house, and it was quite an eventful day as we had a few arguments. Cam is starting to catch on to his current situation, and he's trying to do what he can to change it. Although, of course, what he can do to change it is seemingly very little at this point in terms of his actual ability to do so. But we're going to talk through it all here today. And then later this morning, I will be talking with Mimi, with Rob, and that'll be our final exit interview of the pre-jury, at least, which has taken quite a lot longer than I think anybody anticipated. But hey, you know, that's what we got. So let's jump straight in, and we'll be efficient with this one. Day 68, of course, Bowie is the HOH. She nominated Suri and Felicia. Jag then won the veto. Plans to use it on Felicia. And that is something that was solidified today that Suri has, in fact, let Jag know and gone through the whole process that she is very fine with the veto being used on Felicia. Felicia's had to face the vote a few times now, has packed her bags a bunch. And so Suri is very okay with letting Felicia come off the block and staying on the block. Of course, this is an awful decision. Not that Suri is particularly in that much danger, but it definitely leaves her vulnerable to a potential vote flip, which is already being talked about. Although, of course, whether that actually happens or not is another story. It's seemingly very unlikely at this point, but still, you never want to take that risk, especially because Matt and Jag were inclined to use this veto on Suri in the first place. Kind of an unforced error here, but I think that part of it is yes, that I think that she does kind of wouldn't exactly mind if she got sniped out of the game here in some ways. Um, so, that's kind of the plan. Cam is gonna go up on the block, and he's been kind of tipped off by America already. America's already treating him strangely, and by that we mean like just not wanting to interact with him. And so we start the day here, day 68, with Cam in America as they are going to get into it again. Cam is saying like weird stuff about how he can tell that America is being weird around him. And he's like, I know your emotions. I can tell when you're feeling something. I can tell when you're faking it, America. And she's like, uh, okay, sure, sure. Um, and he says, listen, the thing is, I just can't work with both of you and Corey. I can't work with you both. She's like, why not? Like, what do you mean? Because basically what he thinks is that he's been ratted out. And what he's going to say to her later is that he thinks when he went to, okay, let me just quickly reset this for you. I talked about this yesterday. Cam walked into the comic room with Jag and America talking. America leaves. That's why he feels like she's being weird. He asks Jag what that's about. Jag is like, I don't know. He tells Jag somebody must have leaked to America and Corey that I want Corey backdoored this week. He says to Jag it must be Bowie. But what he tells America later is that who he really thinks it is Jag, which is why the conversation was so awkward. But he gave Jag Bowie's name, which helped seal his fate to begin with. He never should have done that. But so what he thinks is going on is that he thinks that Jag has maybe told America and Corey that he wants to backdoor Corey. So he's trying to talk to America and explain why he wants to backdoor Corey so that he can get America back on his side. He says that, Corey's coming for me. You don't like, I know this. I've been told this. Listen, America, you just don't think about what I tell you. You're always just like immediately responding, and then you think about it later, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, Cam's right." But you don't think about it. You're so stupid. Um, yeah, he said that. She's like, "What, Cam? You're supposed to have been working with us for weeks now. Why are you acting like this is new information? That like, oh, well, like if you're coming after Corey, we're fine. We're hearing that you're coming after us, or you're coming after him at least. Of course, he's going to go after you." Um, he's like, "No, everyone wanted Corey out last week. I was told that Corey's coming after me, and I just can't work with both of you. I feel like a third wheel with you guys. It's awkward. It's so awkward anytime I try to hang out with the two of you. I feel like a third wheel." Um, and it's just this goes around in circles for quite a while. And we're gonna get another one later into the night. Uh, she's gonna call him condescending because he is. And this one gets nowhere. She says, "Well, listen, I am coming after you. So what are we gonna do about it?" But this sets Cam off for the rest of the day. He's gonna go and talk to Corey too, but that one is less interesting. And America's gonna go and talk to Blue. And America lets Blue know that Cam has been throwing her under the bus, saying that Blue is telling him that Corey's coming after him, which is something that Cam did tell them. And Blue is annoyed. Blue is like, "Oh, screw this guy." She was just talking to Cam the night before, and had been developing this quote unquote relationship with Cam. Not because she's a huge fan of Cam, but just because she felt like he was staying, and so why not? She's playing the game. But now she's like, "This is annoying. I don't like Cam much anymore." Um, in the meantime, Cam is gonna go and talk to Matt after his conversation with America, and Matt's like, "What's going on?" Or Cam's like, "What's going on? Am I still the scapegoat?" I'm not gunning for you, Matt. And of course, he doesn't really let Matt talk. He's like, "I'm not gunning for you, Matt. If you're being told that, it's by the same people who are telling me that you're coming after me." Um, and here's the good thing. This can all work out for us, Matt. This is Cam's pitch to Matt and Corey, to Matt and Jag. This is good for us because if I'm now openly anti Corey in America, I'm the new Mimi. It's me and Blue against America and Corey. We are battling it out. That's good for you. So if we take out Suri or Felicia, then you have these two warring factions going against each other, and you get to sit in the middle, essentially. Jag joins the conversation. He fills Jag in on that whole thing. Says, "I talked to America this morning and she drew the line on me. And hey, that's kind of good for us, right? She said that people told her I was going after her and Corey. So I was like, okay, got it. And listen, I don't care. I don't care who said what or how it happened, but this can work in our favor. You can keep me around because this is good for us that I'm against. You can use me as the shield." um and Bowie doesn't want you to use the veto, right? So we should probably just not use it at this point. And Jag's like, "Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to consider." And Cam's like, I don't know what there is to consider. I just feel like, she's not going to put Corey up. And if she's not going to put Corey up, then like, why would we want to use the veto? I mean, it could be Blue, I guess, but will she do that? Because I don't know what she's going to do at this point. So Cam is panicking. Um, there's some more talk about Cam throughout the day. Bowie's going to talk with Serene Felicia about Cam. Um, Felicia says that Cam is so bad at the game. He wants so badly to be good at the game, but he's just not. What he doesn't realize is that you can't invent personality. You either have it or you don't, and Cam doesn't. Yeah, not a Cam fan. Um, After Cam leaves Jag and Matt, they're going to talk to Bowie, and they tell Bowie about what Cam said. He came up to them. He's panicking. They talk about how they can sell the Cam backdoor plan to the rest of the house, what they're going to tell people, especially Blue. Blue is the only person that doesn't know about it right now. And they need to figure out exactly what they want to sell to Blue. They don't want to tell her that Cam has been selling her out for a long time. because then the question is, why didn't they tell her then? What they would like to do is say that he's been recently selling her out. And since he was just upstairs talking to them about, like, hey, Blue could go on the block, this is a good avenue for them. Cam keeps giving them ammunition and they keep firing it off right away. So they can tell Blue that Cam is pitching for her to go on the block because he's panicking. And then that will help get Blue on board with taking Cam out. Um, they are getting more worried about Corey in America, though, for various reasons. For one, they're hearing from Felicia that Corey's trying to start another Final Three because he keeps joking about making Final Threes. They're seeing and hearing Corey in America talking game late into the night. How do they know it's game talk? Because America has told them that they don't talk personal stuff. They only ever talk game. And when they're up for hours and hours late into every night, talking, they're like, "What game are they talking for hours and hours? That's so sketchy." Um, they're starting to turn a bit more on the Corey in America of it all, especially given the fact that like America keeps having these conversations with Cam, and telling Cam like, "Well, we've been told that you're coming after us." Um, so Blue ends up joining them up there, and they let Blue know that Cam was just in here. He was pitching for you to go up and throwing you under the bus. And Blue's like, "Oh, this guy, he's been telling me he wants to bring me all the way to the end." Always like, he told me that too. And so they're already getting Blue on board with the Cam plan, which is good for Blue because she really needs to win some favor here with Matt and Jag. Um, and we're gonna continue to move through here because Cam is gonna then talk to Bowie now that he's talked to Matt and Jag, and he's like, "Bowie, what's going on?" Bowie says, "Well, Jag seems to want to use the veto, so I need to figure out who to put up if he does." And he's like, "Well, as long as I'm not on the block, then me, Matt, and Jag decide who goes. Us three, our three votes. And then you can break the tie. We control everything. As long as I'm not up on the block, you wouldn't want that, right?" Um, she's like, "Yeah, I just don't want any blood on my hands." It's like, "Well, the entire house wants Corey up. That won't get blood on your hands if you do what the entire house wants you to do." Again, pitching for himself to go up in that line of argument. He says, "If I go up, I'll go out." It's like, "What do you mean? Thought we'd had the votes." It's like, "No, no, that's what we thought with Red." It's like, "That was a long time ago. I don't even know what happened there." It's like, she's like, I guess there just really aren't any good options." It's like, "No, there is a good option. It's Corey. Listen, if you want to keep me safe, you can't put me on the block. I've kept you safe in this game, Bowie." "No, you haven't." This conversation does not go well for Cam. He does not pitch well to either Matt, Jag, or Bowie. Everything is still locked in for him to go up on the block, but he is going to go back to Jag. Says, "Jag, what's happening? I'm hearing from Bowie that you're going to use the veto." Like, "Yeah, I'm leaning toward using the veto." He's like, that makes me nervous, Jag." He's like, "Bowie hinted to me that I'm the replacement." She did? Well, not directly, not in those words, but, she said she didn't wanna get blood on her hands, like, it seems like she would wanna put me up. Like, "Well, I mean, we'd have the votes if she did that, right?" It's like, "It's not worth the risk, just don't use the veto, dude." So, are you sure she'd do that, though? I don't know. She's not putting up Corey. Maybe she'll put up Blue. Listen, you need me in this game. I am a warrior weapon. Doug's like, "Yeah, I guess we'll have to just think about it. Just think about what to do with this veto." Not a great day for Cam. It's dead ends everywhere he goes. Um, and that's it's honestly it's most of the day. It's just a lot of running in circles for a guy that is not changing much with any of these conversations. Things get a little more interesting when we get to the nighttime because they're gonna get some alcohol. And Um, Bowie's gonna save some upstairs for her crew. And America's gonna get a little tipsy, and Cam is gonna get into another argument with her. It's another very long argument. Um, they start arguing. They're in the kitchen. Then ends up going into the hammock. She knocks over his tea. The whole thing. So let's talk through the highlights here. Just because I don't want to have to point out every single condescending comment that Cam makes. Just imagine that there's a lot of condescending comments throughout about how she's stupid and that she doesn't listen and that he's always right and that she should listen to him more and that when she watches this back, she'll find out how right he was and how she should have trusted him and so on and so forth. And she's like talking about how he's condescending and annoyed at him. Okay, that's happening throughout the entire like 2 hours. Um, he's like, you over. And America's like, what do you mean? Like, we weren't coming after you until we heard that you were coming after Corey. And he's like, well, they said the same thing about y'all. And she's like, well, this has happened again. And they talk. Basically, Cam's argument is, I was never going after Corey until I heard that Corey was coming after me. Then I was going after him. And America's like, no, because we weren't going after you until we heard that you were coming after us. And Cam's like, well, who's the one causing all of it then? It's Suri and Izzy all over again. Matt and Jag have played me. They've played me like a fiddle. They've gotten us to go against each other again. It's the same thing that happened before. And America's like, you can't use that, Cam. You can't just say that. You had a choice. You were able to choose who you wanted to work with and who you wanted to believe. We were right there. You could have worked with us, but instead you chose to work with them and they played you. Congrats. He's like, no, that's not how it went. The only reason I chose to work with them is because they were telling me that you were coming after me. She's like, why would you believe them? He's like, because that's what they were saying. And you guys were in on the plan to take me out when I was evicted. She's like, what do you mean? I told you about it. I was the one that warned you it was a back door. He's like, no, I knew already. I knew already that it was a back door. She's like, what do you want from us? We were on the block. Jag is the one that won the veto and chose to use it when you didn't want him to. Why would you believe him and work with them over us? Just because they've won more competitions? I get that. He's like, no, it's not about competitions. It's just that they were telling me that you were coming for me. She's like, we were working together longer than you were working with them. So why would you trust them? Why would you go with them? And he has no answer to this. There's no good answer to it because the fact of the matter is Cam has always just wanted to work with the bros and he's always wanted Corey out so that America would not have Corey and he wouldn't be the third wheel, as he literally told America earlier in the day. But he's trying. So they go back and forth about that for quite a while. And he's like, well, listen, here's the deal. I have been played. They played me for a fool last week. I wanted to take out Corey and they talked me out of it. And she's like, so what are you trying to tell me right now? Because if they were the ones defending Corey, why should I care if they played you? And he's like, well, but the only reason I wanted to go after him in the first place is because they were telling me that he was coming for me. Yeah, but then they defend him and prevent you from targeting him. Well, yeah, because they want Blue and Corey to go after. They want us to go after each other. They don't want to have to do it themselves. Like, okay, yeah, Jag is some mastermind. He's like, well, And so he goes on to tell her some details about the previous week. The biggest one being exactly what we talked about last week, which was the sloppiness when it came to Matt and Jag, or particularly Jag, and how they tried to set up the Mimi vote, where there were multiple different staged interactions between Corey and other people. And so Cam tells the story of how Corey came up, pitched the idea to send Mimi out to both him and Jag. He wasn't into it. Corey goes down to get his noodles. And I've never heard more about buttered noodles on Big Brother in my life. But when Corey went down to get his buttered noodles, Jag pitched to him, hey, this is actually good for us because it's bad for Corey. We should let Corey convince us and let Corey spearhead this because it only further puts the target on Corey's back. And so when Corey came back up with his big bucket of noodles, Cam was like, oh, good idea, Corey. And then America came in and he was like, Corey convinced me. And it was all planned. And there was this other situation in the have not room when they were talking, and then Corey and America came in. It was very awkward. It's because they were talking about them. Their whole plan this whole time has been to pin Corey against Blue and against him. And basically just selling everything that he has on Matt and Jag here to America, which she is mostly believing, saying, listen, I want to believe you. But like, at the end of the day, you still came for us. Like, what are we supposed to do about this? And again, they go back and forth. And remember, just a reminder, he's being extremely condescending throughout the conversation. And she's also kind of drunk. And so we continue to go around and around. He has some more details about like, oh, and there was apparently a meeting that happened between you, America, Matt, Jag, and Blue that was supposed to be about targeting me. And Corey wanted them to talk, and then they didn't, and so on and so forth. And she's like, well, so what do you want? He's like, well, I think they're about to put me on the block. So if you keep me, I'm gunning for them. She's like, that's it? You're gunning for them. He's like, yes, that's what I do. Like, well, how do I know you're not going to turn around and target us again? It's like, we've gone through this before, and every time you turn around and you target us. And he's like, no, well, last time I did target Izzy. And she's like, well, we wouldn't even have the votes, dude. Like, what do you want from me? He's like, well, no, because if Cirie comes off the block, and I know, listen, this is what happened. This is why they're targeting me. Because I knew what happened was, he says to her, Jag was telling you guys about me coming after you, and then you started acting weird around me. I figured it out. I confronted Jag about it, and he realized that I was too smart, and that's when they decided to take me out, because I figured them out. And so I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take Cirie off the block, and they're going to put me on the block, and they're going to try to send me out. But what they don't know is that I'm actually really close to Cirie. I have a relationship with Cirie that I haven't told them about. So I can get Cirie to vote to keep me. So if you guys vote to keep me too, and Blue is really close to Cirie. So Blue and Cirie will both vote to keep me. You guys will vote to keep me. It'll be 4-2. And then we'll flip this whole thing and I'll go after Matt and Jag. She's like, okay. I guess this is contingent on Cirie coming off the block then, because if Felicia comes off the block, you're screwed. There's no shot Blue's going to vote to vote Cirie out over you. And he's like, you're right. I am screwed if Cirie stays on the block. But luckily that's not what they're doing. Did Cirie accidentally mastermind this? No, we're not going to go there. They continue this for a while. Eventually, it finally stops. Now, it's important to note that while this conversation is happening, upstairs in the HOH room, Bowie is holding a party with Matt, Jag, and Blue. And they are literally like on the two screens. You've got Corey and Cam and America arguing back and forth, all this drama. On the other side of the feeds, you have Matt, Jag, Blue, and Bowie. Cheers. They're like cheers with their alcohol. They're drunk. They're like boisterous. Jag is like yelling at the top of his lungs when speaking, like at what should be a normal volume. Apparently, he's a very loud drunk. And they keep telling like Jag, just quiet down. And they're just talking about the season and Riley a lot. and Cam and how annoying he is. And they're like, cheers. There's just lots of cheersing, it feels like, because I feel like every time I look over, they're just doing a cheers while Cam and America argue. Um, and so Cam and America finally finish their argument. Corey goes, America goes and talks to Corey. She wakes him up because he fell asleep waiting for her to finish. Um, and she relays the information to Corey in a very sloppy way. She's like, listen, I was drunk for half of that conversation, so I don't remember all of it. But um, she relays basically the point here is she says that that she's like that Matt and Jag have been talking about them. They've been giving away details. They've been doing way too much. And like there were all these details about like how they've been telling Cam things that they didn't need to. It was so unnecessary. Um, and that they're trying to pin him against Blue, and that the reason that they were defending Corey was because they wanted Corey in the game to be against Blue, and all of this stuff. And Corey's response was like, "Yeah, well, why would you talk to him when you're drunk?" And she's like, I don't know. But like, what do you think about this? He's like, honestly, this makes me feel better about Matt and Jag. It's like, what really? Why? He's like, because if the reason that they've been defending us is because of like a strategic reason, they want us to be against Blue, then that means they're gonna want to keep us in the game even more to continue to go against Blue. Like in Corey's mind, I think it's like, oh, this is like a strategic, logical reason for them to be loyal to us. That makes a lot more sense to me than like just actual loyalty. This is maybe even better. Um, but it is still worth knowing, he says. And he says, so when have we talked about taking the shot at Matt and Jag? She said, we say 7 or 8. He says, we said 7. So basically, after next week, they were already planning to take the shot at Matt and Jag. Um, so he's like, so basically, does this information mean that we should move it up a week? And if we have the ability to, we should take a shot next week? Like basically as soon as we get a chance? She's like, maybe. He's like, yeah, it's a conversation we would have to have. If we win HOH next week, we need to think about it. But it is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to land the shot. And then even if we do land the shot, now one of Matt and Jag are gone. Bowie's pissed off. The other one is pissed off. And they're less of a threat for somebody like Blue to even consider. Blue's now with Suri. Like it kind of leaves us in a weird place. So ideally, we survive one more week and still take that shot at 7. Really, this doesn't change a lot for us. At least that's how Corey sees it for now. So uh, so that's ultimate. And then they talk about like, should we save Cam? And Corey's like, no, Cam still has to go. We can't trust him. I can't trust him. There's no world where we should save Cam, nor could we. We wouldn't even have the votes. Like, no, Cam has to go. So that was seemingly the result of that at this point. In the meantime, Blue, Matt, Jag, and Bowie, they're still upstairs. They're still doing all of their things. Cam joins them for a while after his conversation with America. And he tries to have fun with them, but they don't want him there. And after he leaves, they go in on him, especially Jag. He dug his own grave. He has no right to complain. He was already evicted, says Jag. Everybody else has had it so much worse than him. At least he dug his own grave here. And Blue's like, you know what I hate about Cam? I hate how he takes credit for things he had nothing to do with. And Jag's like, yes, he was even trying to take credit for me winning the veto this week because he gave me the advice about stacking photos. Like, That's never been done before in the history of this game. Nobody's ever stockpiled things in OTEV before the almighty Cam. So I would never have won that comp without Cam's advice. Um, like, oh, and he said that he missed Riley the most. And we were all like, no, you don't. He's the one that screwed Riley over. Matt misses Riley the most. And he won't even admit that he screwed Riley over. Oh, and he takes credit for taking Heisem out. What? How does he even take credit for that? He's such a dense motherfucker. He's so up his own ass, bro. And with the zing, he was like, I already made the major tool joke. I already said that. That was my joke. They stole my joke. Like, he can't even have a zing made against him. They're so mad at Cam. They want him gone. They're ready for him to leave. Most importantly, though, late into the night, Matt and Jag discuss their target for next week. What do they do? Should they throw the HOH to Corey or Blue? Let them go after each other? Well, Matt is saying, listen, I know we've been talking about taking Blue out next, but Blue just had a long time hanging out up there while America was getting into it with Cam and Corey was sleeping, waiting for them to finish. Blue was upstairs hanging out with them finally, just chatting, not pushing an agenda, just being like bros with them. And I think it made a significant difference for the short term because earlier in the day they were talking about Blue needs to go first, and now, for now, they're changing their tunes a bit. They're hearing all this stuff about Corey's jokes. They're wondering about all the game talk him and America are doing. America's talking to Cam so much. And now they're starting to feel like maybe Corey should go first. Matt, in particular, is saying, guess what? With all the mental comps coming up that Corey has told us about, Corey probably should leave sooner than later. Sooner rather than later. Because we want to make sure he's gone before all of those mental competitions start popping up. So their thought process is, well, maybe we can throw the HOH to Blue. Or if we do end up winning, maybe we just straight up take out Corey. And that's kind of their plan. Also, by the way, what Corey was saying to America as well was what this does, what Cam gave them is a bunch of dirt to drop. So if Blue does win, Corey and America plan to go to Blue and dump all of their Cam information, all of their Jag and Matt information on Blue to try to convince her that that Matt and Jag are the true threats, and that she shouldn't bother targeting them. That would be the plan in that scenario. So that's where we are set up at this point, moving into today, where the veto ceremony is going to take place. At this point, it seems very unlikely that things are going to change and that Cam will likely go up on the block against Suri, where he has seemingly very little hope of surviving. He's certainly going to try and make a pitch to Blue about Matt and Jag and how they're dangerous and how she needs him to help face off against them, so on and so forth. Will he make progress? Who knows? If Corey and America back it up, it's not like Blue's the biggest Corey and America fan either. I feel like she might just want to jump in with them anyway, but who knows? We'll see. All of this information is going to come out. I would imagine we might get some sort of Jag Matt, not Matt, but like a Jag Cam fight, maybe. Who knows? So stay tuned today. That is the current trajectory. It's still, again, I said this last night, it's not impossible for Cam to stay, but against Suri, it is a lot harder than it is against Felicia. He needs to either convince, he needs not only a duo, whether it's Corey and America or Matt or Jag. At this point, Matt or Jag seems unlikely. Let's say he gets Corey and America, he needs to be able to bridge together the Blue and Felicia, or pull Bowie away from Jag and Matt to get Corey, America, Blue, and Bowie, or something weird like that. It's a strange combination. He might need Corey and America to do the legwork too, because he's not exactly the best at this. Either way, it's not looking great at this point, but there's still plenty of time. So keep an eye out for it. Plus, you'd also, by the way, you have Suri up there who kind of wants to leave, and that could be another angle for you. So we'll see. But that's it for me. You can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, hanging out, playing games, and talking about feeds and watching episodes of things, which is very fun. I'll release the survey for the stock watch tonight after this podcast ends. The stock watch should be a good time tonight as well. So tune in for that at around 8 or 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight for the stock watch. We will have an interview with Mimi that we will be doing very soon. I'll also be talking about the Wheel of Time season 2 later today, which will hopefully come out maybe later today or maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure, but keep your eyes peeled for that. And you can find some climbing stuff on Instagram. I'm having fun climbing things. So if you want to watch me climb things, you can check out my Instagram. All right, that's what I have for you. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. And I will see all of you next time.